Yeah. But I always thought you both had great style, really. Okay. Hello, viewers. Welcome to the fourth episode of my video podcast, MAO Chat. My name is Jason Robinson. My guests today are Miss Texas 2012, Danae Couch, and Miss Delaware 2014, Brittany Lewis. Danae is from Coppell, Texas. Her platform was Hope for Family Recovery, Life Beyond Addiction. Her talent was baton twirling, and she placed in the top 10 in the Miss America 2013 competition. Brittany is from Brigantine, New Jersey. Her talent was dance, her platform was domestic violence awareness, and she was first runner up to the Quality of Life Award winner, which is now called Social Impact Initiative. Thank you very much, ladies, for being on my show. Welcome to my video podcast. It is a pleasure to have you. So, my first question for both of you is what have you been up to since you gave up the crown?
Well, I can go ahead and start since I'm the oldest here, I guess. When I wrapped up being Miss Texas 2012, I went back to law school and graduated a year later.
Okay.
And I subsequently passed the Texas State Bar and have
Nice.
been a licensed practicing attorney. I specialize in civil litigation and
Okay.
I practice in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so I went on to my PhD program. So I'm a PhD candidate at George Washington University. I study US 20th century history, African American history, colonial to present, and urban history. I'm also a commentator on a couple of different local news shows. So I do like Fox 5, RT
Wow.
News, the Armstrong Williams Show, etc.
Okay, Danae, you also a local executive director, isn't that right?
I am. I just took over the Miss South Lake Scholarship Organization last summer, and we'll have two title holders compete for Miss Texas and Miss Texas Outstanding Teen in
Okay,
August.
great. And Brittany, you went on to win Miss Black America.
Yeah. So my research and my background is in African American history.
Hmm.
And I'm specifically, my dissertation focuses on the Atlantic City area during the 1960s and 1970s. So
Uh-huh.
you can't possibly go through the historical archives without seeing images of not only Miss America and some of the protests that were taking place during that time period, but also looking at the Miss Black America pageant as a form of protest. So as a pageant girl, as a historian, as someone who really loves Black history, it was
Right,
really interesting join a pageant that I didn't even know still existed.
right. So you guys were lucky enough to get to the Miss America stage. A lot of girls don't get that opportunity. So how was your Miss America experience? What is your favorite memory from Miss America?
I loved going to Miss. It's obviously when you're competing at that level, such an honor to be able to represent your state.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest memories that I have from Miss America was that it kind of you have to go back to Miss Texas. The day after I won Miss Texas, the dean of my law school, along with several of my law school professors, called the Miss America office and asked for tickets to go
Oh,
to Miss America.
wow.
I actually had an entire delegation from my law school who
Wow.
ended up coming. Of
That's
course, they came
cool.
for my onstage question prelim night, so no one was more nervous than I was to deliver an onstage question answer in front of my law school professors. But that was definitely a cherished memory for me from Miss America.
Cool. What about you, Brittany?
I would say it would be the Show Us Your Shoes parade.
Okay.
I've been going to that parade since I'm originally from Brigantine, New Jersey, which is a
Mm-hmm.
small island right next to Atlantic City. I've been going to that parade as a small child. So to be able to participate in that parade and see so many of my loved ones,
Right.
I feel like the entire Brigantine Island was on the boardwalk that day to support me.
Right.
Kind of came full circle.
Right. I don't think they did that last year, did they? I don't think so. I'm
I'm
not
not.
sure.
That's a
I
good
don't
point.
remember. I was actually in Las Vegas too. So they tried to do the Show Me Your Shoes parade one year in Las Vegas, but that's actually something that I didn't get to see in person until I went to Atlantic City to support one of my Miss Texas sisters.
Right. And speaking of different locations, Miss America originated in Atlantic City. It's taking place in Vegas. Brittany competed in Atlantic City. Danae, you competed in Vegas. And then last year it was in Connecticut. Do you have a preference for the location of Miss America, or should it be like Miss USA and just go from different locations every year? What do you think about it?
I'm a bit biased, so I'm a historian. So
Right.
I love the history aspect of it. I love the fact that it's been historically for the majority of its tenure in the Atlantic City area. So I would like to see it there. There are so many people in this area, specifically as a South Jersey and myself, that are really invested in the pageant.
Okay.
I also think the memorabilia is here. So even with the Sheraton, and we see all the memorabilia that's there. So I'm biased, but I really do like it in Atlantic City, and I would love for it to return and stay here for the duration of its existence.
Nice.
When I started competing in the Miss America program, it was in Las Vegas at the time. And so my natural inclination was not knowing anything other than its existence in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I hadn't been around the competition for the previous Atlantic City tenure.
Right.
However, I did go to Atlantic City and get to see the history of it. I do think that there is merit in recognizing the history. I think no matter where Miss America ends up, she needs to make sure that it's something that is beneficial for the city that it is in, as well as the organization as a whole.
Nice, nice. So when you were competing, what was your favorite phase of competition and your least favorite phase of competition? What do you think?
So when I won Miss Texas, I was in between my second and third year of law school. So the competition that was the probably easiest for me and the most exciting for me was interview. That being said, I was originally drawn to the Miss America competition because of the talent aspect. So those two areas of competition, I'd say, were the ones that I got the most excited about.
Okay.
And the things that I had to do more training and more learning towards were the elegant phases of competition, which sounds silly because as a female, you think, oh, I can walk in heels, I can present on stage.
Right.
But as it turns out, it was kind of a running joke that that was not an area that I was as well versed in. So I don't know if I'd say they were my least favorite areas, but they were the areas that I had the most opportunity for growth and probably served me well to practice a little bit more of.
Right.
For me, my favorite is it's a tie. It's a tie between swimsuit and interview. I love interview. I love politics. I love history. I love being able to share who I am. But I also love being in those 6-inch heels, showing off a body that I worked hard to keep and maintain.
Right.
And I feel like how many opportunities do you get to do that?
Yeah.
So I love that. I actually, although I love to perform, and I always have, talent always made me really, really nervous.
Why do you think that is?
Favorite. I think, in our respective states, we might feel as like, hey, we're really excellent at this particular phase of competition. But I think, in America, you're dealing with like the creme de la creme.
Right.
And I know we're supposed to only be competing with ourselves. It's the best version of ourselves. But I also think it's fair to say it's only human to notice how many beautiful, talented women there are around you, and realize like, oh, maybe I'm not the best dancer here.
Oh. Okay. Danae, your talent is baton twirling. I love your talent. Yes. Brittany, you're also an excellent dancer. You brought up swimsuit a while ago, so I'm just curious how you guys feel about the elimination of swimsuit, the swimsuit competition.
To be honest, I would love for them to bring it back. And I feel that way. I think that there's been so many criticisms historically about Miss America saying, we shouldn't be wearing swimsuits. We shouldn't be showing our body. It's outdated. But I think that misses the nail. I think it misses the mark when it comes to feminism. I don't find feminism is based around a woman's choice. So I feel at the end, if a woman chooses to she feels sexy and confident with less clothes, that's okay. And if chooses and feels comfortable fully clothed, that's okay as well. So I feel like if we were trying to go towards a more progressive direction, I think the best thing to do would have been to allow contestants to have a variety of options, as opposed to completely eliminating it.
Interesting. Any thoughts on that, Danae?
That's definitely an interesting point of view, and I totally agree with you that being a feminist is being able to present yourself in the way that you feel the most comfortable. The swimsuit area of the competition for me personally was not something that I had ever done before, or that I can say that I was ever super comfortable with, only from the standpoint that, again, the modeling was something that I always had to work for. I did learn a lot of lessons about health and wellness from doing that phase of competition, but I wasn't as fired up about that being eliminated from the competition.
Oh.
Only because as a local director, I will say that it has been pretty straightforward and streamlined to pitch the organization with the phases of competition that are currently in place. And I do think that there's benefits in hearing everyone's opinion on that topic.
Cool. Well, let's talk about style for a minute and clothes. Both of you, I love the evening gowns that you wore at Miss America. Brittany, yours was blue. It was amazing. And Danae, yours was champagne. How did you pick your dress that you wore at Miss America?
I have a wonderful sponsor here in Texas, Larissa Maynor with Shimmer Boutique, who always made sure that I looked my best, whether it was on the Miss Texas stage or the Miss America stage. The process of selecting the evening gown really came down to trying to find something that I felt would show my personality and then also have a little twist. One of my favorite features of the gown was the fact that the back was cut out pretty significantly, and I thought that it was really, really pretty. And it was also done by McDougall, who I've always loved everything that he does.
Cool.
Yeah, so I went with Gregory Ellenberg. I absolutely love him to death. He's out of South Carolina. I needed a dress. I needed something custom, and I wanted something that was going to say wow. I recognize America is more of a conservative organization, I think, in terms of gowns and things like that. But what I loved about Gregory was able to do for me is he was able to use a very thick material to still give that classy element, but we were able to go with a very deep V, which made it stand out, as well as like the origami side. I thought it was unique, and I was very, very, very pleased with the entire process. He flew me out there. He did my measurements. I literally have pictures of him making it on me. So I'm
So the reason I started the podcast, one of the reasons was so that Miss America volunteers and fans can get to know the title holders. And I know that you guys made videos in the past. I love when the contestants made videos. Cue the videos. I love it because it gave people like me the opportunity to get to know you before Miss America. So I have videos from you guys from back in the past, the People's Choice videos that you made. And so I would love to take a minute to watch those videos. And then after we watch the videos, I want to ask you about your platforms. So whenever they're ready, we're going to watch some of your videos about the, the People's Choice. Okay, well, we'll come back to the videos. We'll do the platforms first. So, Brittany, in doing research for this interview, I learned that you and I have something in common, that we both lost a sister to domestic violence. So can you talk about your platform and something you was able to accomplish with that?
Yeah, sure. So unfortunately, I lost my sister in 2009 at the hands of her fiance. And it was something that I struggled with for a really long time. I mean, it's something sudden. It's something that you don't expect. And it was also something that, most victims aren't public about it. But I think the beautiful thing about the Miss America organization is the ability to use heartache or pain or adversity and propel it into something good, to propel it into something, to change, essentially. And I think that I've had the opportunity to work in so many different domestic violence shelters. I had a 3-part program at the time. It was communication, education, and legislation. So I was going throughout the tri-state area and then eventually beyond to various college campuses, since women ages 18 to 24 were at greatest risk for domestic violence. So I was able to share my sister's story, as well as some supporting materials. In terms of education, I was also created a secondary school project. So I would work with secondary schools, middle schools, and high schools to talk about what healthy relationships look like, so that we're taking a proactive measure to domestic violence as opposed to just reactive. And then lastly, legislation. During my time as Miss Delaware, I was able to work with Governor Markell, the Delaware Department of Justice. We created an official domestic violence awareness day.
Wow.
had a month recognized. And I think the most important aspect of it was really just talking with other survivors and helping those who were victims at the church.
Okay, great. The videos are ready now, so we're going to watch the videos, and then Danae, I'll ask you about your platform after we watch the video. Okay.
America, you can only vote for one girl, so why can't it be me? I may never be a supermodel at 5'1", but I do want to be a role model. While my rest of my students know me as Miss B, the world may know me as Miss Delaware Brittany Lewis. Scholarship and service are at the heart of the Miss America organization, and I walk the Miss America walk every day, with or without a crown. I tell my students to follow their dreams, and now it's time to follow mine. Vote for me and watch me live on Sunday, September 14th in Atlantic City, New Jersey on ABC.
That was Brittany's. And here's Danae's.
Miss Texas 2012 is Miss Dallas, Danae Couch.
When they announced that Danae was the new Miss Texas, it was really the most surreal moment of my entire life.
The thing that I'm really excited about as Miss Texas is the opportunity that I'm going to have to go to high school and college is across the state on a project that I am partnering with the Texas Young Lawyers Association on called The Unconscious Truth, the legal and physical effects of binge drinking.
This has always been Danae's dream, and it was quite apparent from the very beginning of her pageant days that the things that she would learn from this entire experience were things that we really couldn't put a price tag on.
One of the biggest things that I'd want to share with students who are about to embark into the real world is that you're going to have curveballs, and you're going to have things that really surprise you about your life in good ways and also in bad ways. And the best advice that I can give you is to embrace those curves and see what journey your life is going to lead you down. Because some of the craziest things that have happened to me have also been some of the most wonderful blessings.
I don't think there is a girl out there that would represent our country better than Danae.
One of the things that I think sets me apart for the title of Miss America is the fact that I am an advocate. I've learned advocacy through law school, and I want to continue to use it as Miss America to advocate on behalf of the women in the program to gain more scholarship funding. I've spent hours upon hours in the gym, and it really taught me dedication on how to perfect moves and to perform them and make sure that they're accurate.
One thing I love that your mom said was that there's benefits in this program that you can't put a price tag on. And I think sometimes pageants get a bad rap, you know, and I think people don't know some of the benefits, like the interview skills and things that you guys learn. I think people might not know that, might not be aware of it. But all right, let's hear about your platform, Danae.
My platform was Hope for Family Recovery, Life Beyond Addiction. Mm-hmm. It was something that really touched my heart because at the time that I was competing and then subsequently won Miss Texas, I had a family member who was actively struggling with drug addiction.
Okay.
And that's really challenging. Keep in mind, this was back in 2012. And while the drug problem across the country was definitely severe, mm-hmm. It wasn't as heightened as it is now and getting as much recognition as it does now. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was talk about the family impact that drug addiction has, because a lot of people think that drug addiction is really a singular person's choice and mm-hmm. that it doesn't affect anyone outside of that person. But unfortunately, it does have a pretty grave effect on the family. And so I was really fortunate to partner with a lot of different organizations and take the Miss Texas brand into a lot of places that traditionally it wouldn't have gone because of this platform that I had. Right. Specifically, I partnered with the Texas Young Lawyers Association to present and be their premier speaker for The Unconscious Truth, the legal and physical effects of binge drinking. Mm-hmm. I also did Prison Talk Radio and talked about family effects on drugs. I did several drug court graduations, which I was particularly proud of because it was people coming out of a bad situation and really reconnecting with the community as well as their family. And so that's something that traditionally Miss Texas hadn't done, but I was really honored to have the opportunity to talk about this issue.
Excellent. And I'm sure that you guys have both made an important impact in your communities, as I think all titles holders have. So we talked about how a lot of girls don't know pageant stuff like hair, makeup. We talk like what to wear to the interviews or something. So do you think girls should work with pageant coaches, or who helped you guys kind of get yourselves together to be successful?
I've had a few people kind of just see me on stage when I first started and say, like, I think you have what it takes. We just need to polish this a bit.
Right.
And if it wasn't for those individuals, yourself included, who would have, connected me with different folks that may have been able to help with interviewing or wardrobe or a lot of those unwritten pageant rules, I'm not sure I would have been as successful. So I'm happy for the mentorship. I'm happy for the mentorship.
Cool. What do you think?
I 100% agree on the mentorship. The very first local pageant that I entered, I looked like a hot mess. There are documented photos of it. I had no idea what I was doing on the stage persona. I mean, it was bad. I distinctly remember sitting next to Ivana Hall, who subsequently I crowned as Miss Texas 2013.
Okay.
And she looked at me and the mess of curls that I had going on and said, "Oh my gosh, do you need some help? Like, can I fix this situation for you?" And I think that in addition to the numerous volunteers and sponsors that every girl hopefully has the opportunity to experience, another really underappreciated group of people that makes you who you are your competitive sisters.
Oh,
and
wow.
the ones that look at you in the dressing room and say, "Girl, you look a mess, and I need to do some magic on you before you go on stage." And I think that's another thing about the pageant community, that people make the incorrect assumption that girls are competitive and they don't get along and we're very cutthroat. But my experience as a competitor and subsequently as a local director has been that the girls want to lift each other up and make them the very best version of themselves that they can be.
And I've seen that observing, girls who are competing, past, present, just the sisterhood and how people are happy for each other and help each other. And I think that is amazing. So I'm just curious, what do you guys do for fun? What are your hobbies?
Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I was really drawn to community involvement.
Okay.
And one of the ways that I really plugged into the community after the Miss Texas journey was getting involved with working the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I know that sounds kind of strange, but one of the things that I'll say is, first of all, rodeo is actually the official sport of the state of Texas. Most people assume it's football, but it's actually rodeo. And so I've partnered with the Junior League of Fort Worth, and we sell the programs at the rodeo every year. And that's what raises money for our local charities and organizations.
Oh, okay.
So I think that that's fun. Most people wouldn't think that soliciting people for program sales is that fun, but I've made some of my closest friends doing it, and I really enjoy the opportunity to see a different side of Texas than I see in my legal profession.
Right. What about you, Brittany? What do you do for fun?
I'm boring. I like to read for fun.
Okay.
I already do for my career, so I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I like to read. I really enjoy traveling. I'm not able to do that right now, but I've been to a lot of fun and impressive places over the last couple of years. And then, of course, joining the Miss Delaware Scholarship Organization's board loosely as like as a chair. So I really enjoy that as well.
Cool. Excellent. All right. I think this is my last question. I know you guys are busy. So Brittany, you placed first runner up in the Quality of Life Award. Now they call it Social Impact Initiative. Danae, you won Miss Texas. You were in the top 10 at Miss America. What advice would you give to current title holders or girls who are competing out there for being successful?
I think I would say just to be your most authentic self. I think one of the reasons why I loved interview, and that was probably my best phase of competition, was because people would say, like, they would cry, they would feel it. It wasn't put on it. I spoke my truth every time that I was in that room, and I would encourage every title holder to know who you are as you continue to come into who you are, speak your truth authentically. I would also say, remember, just have fun. I think that's part of being your authentic self, is to remember, yes, it's a competition, but at the end of the day, there's so many other things that you're going to gain from this organization, from the experience, whether that's the sisterhood, whether that's the interviewing skills,
Right.
whether getting over your fear to perform your talent on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would definitely come down to being your authentic self and just remembering to have fun.
Danae, what do you think?
I totally agree. To sort of piggyback off of what Brittany was saying, I think that there's a moment in everyone's competitive career, whether it's on the local, state, or even the national level, where you have that aha moment of who you are and how you fit into the brand that you're interviewing for. And I competed at Texas 4 times.
Oh.
I always had a really great experience competing here, but it wasn't really until the last year that I really knew my why, why I wanted to be Miss Texas, why I wanted to do the job of Miss Texas, because here you take a year off of school and it is a full-time 365-day job. And so I think that the more you can think about how you can continue the legacy that's been left for you, and you can advance it in some way that's meaningful to your voice and your mission, I think that that's the very best thing that you can work on, because that will permeate not only in your competitive life in the Miss America organization, but also in your vocation beyond that.
If I may throw in one more question, you said you competed at Miss Texas 4 times. Yeah. How did you keep the strength, the mental strength to keep going and to not get discouraged? Because I know it can be discouraging, like, oh, I did it this many times, or I'm first runner up, or I'm second runner. How do you keep that, the gumption to just keep going?
I think that's something that you have to find within yourself. And for me, it really came down to like discovering the why. Just as some background information for you, when I was going into my last year of competition, it was my age out year.
Oh.
I just started my second year of law school, and I really did have a moment where I thought to myself, is it really worth it to come back and compete it 4th time? Because I felt like I had already poured my heart and soul on the stage, and I didn't really know if there was any meaningful changes I could make to my competitive areas of competition to make a difference. And it was in October of my second year of law school that I found out that my family member was struggling with drug addiction. And I had the most amazing sense of clarity when I went to my first Al-Anon meeting and realized that I had a problem that I didn't know how to address. I didn't have the resources out there that I knew about. Not that they weren't there, it's just I wasn't familiar with them. And I really felt like I developed a new and engaged purpose for why I wanted to be Miss Texas and the demographic of people that I wanted to fix. So for me, it came down to like discovering who I was and who I wanted to be and why I felt like I could really do that job. And that's not necessarily going to be true for every single person, but I will tell anyone who's looking at coming back and either competing their last year or competing for, 3rd or 4th or 5th year, that you're valuable, your story means something, and I, for one, would love to hear it.
Wow. Thank you very, very much. So, Brittany Lewis, Miss Delaware 2014, Danae Couch, Miss Texas 2012. Thank you so much for being on my show. I would love to hang out with you guys one day, see you in person, hang out. I wish you the rest of a good day and a good week. And thanks again for being on my show. It was an honor to have you on my show. Bye-bye. To the viewers, thanks again for watching my 4th episode of MAO Chat. Our next guests are Andalyn Medina, and she was first runner-up to Miss District of Columbia last year. And also, our next guest is Avery Bishop, and she was first runner-up to Miss Texas last year. And once again, thanks for watching my show. I hope you enjoy, and have a good day, everybody.